You know, ladies and gentlemen, I really love when they try to gaslight you and tell you that what they're doing doesn't matter, right? The people who try to tell you on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, oh, it's not a big deal. Why do you care? What does it matter to you? It's not a big deal to anybody. You're just a weirdo, blah, 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 right? Well, apparently it's a big enough deal that now I have not just one example, but two examples that I'm going to do in two separate videos of old games, ancient games that are getting updates for the modern audience.
For a modern gaming audience.
Ha! Gay!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, apparently old school RuneScape has now removed gender selection in the character creator and adds pronoun options in this game. Now, honestly, I don't know what the fuck this is for, right? Like, it's one of those things that it's so obvious that this is for pandering, right? This is for virtue signaling. This is nothing more than that. The fact that this game has been able to last as long as it has without the gender stuff, without the pronoun stuff, and all of a sudden now, in modern day, you want to add this stuff, it's only for the modern audience, right? It's only for ESG points. It's only for virtue signaling. That is all it's for. There is nothing that this is going to do to change the gameplay. There's nothing this is going to do to change people's minds, or this is not going to garner any kind of new players. You're not going to get new players suddenly because you could put a beard on a female character now. Nobody's going to give a shit. If anything, they're probably going to troll people who are into this stuff. But yes, ultimately, none of this shit is going to change anything. However, it matters, right? No matter how small of a change this is, it ultimately does matter, because if it didn't matter, why'd you do it in the first place? So let's get into this article, guys, from that Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says old school RuneScape developer Jage, I don't know how to say, Jagex, whatever, announced that it removed gender selection and added pronoun options in its character creator and makeover interface. The official old school RuneScape X account announced the patch on August 4th, writing the following: game update. Grab your duo. Slayer Partners is back. Not only is this feature finally returning, but we brought with it some fresh QOL. It added plus some Pole 82 changes, including the ability to wield certain tools in your offhand. Now, I'm assuming QOL is quality of life, most likely. And again, how is this going to improve anybody's quality of life is beyond me. If there was a trans person playing RuneScape currently, I highly doubt by making these changes you made them feel seen. I highly doubt that this is going to do anything that's going to make them want to continue to play the game, because they were already going to play it anyway. I just don't see what this is for other than virtue signaling, because that's genuinely what it is. There's nothing else. There's no other reason why you would make a change like this to a game this old, other than for virtue signaling and pandering points. That is literally it. Just so you can post on Twitter how stunning and brave and inclusive you are because you did something like this, right? Because even RuneScape is trying to up their ESG scores. It's incredible. In the update notes, in the updated makeover interface, players now choose between body type A and B. Here we go again with the nonsensical body type A and B. Again, guys, we've seen so many Japanese developers do this, and the reason why I bring up Japanese developers that do this stuff is because, quite simply, Japanese developers don't really do a lot of those super woke shit. Some of them do, right? If they've been infected by Western audiences, some of them do, but for the most part, they don't really go full on like Western developers do, right? They don't like to necessarily do that stuff. So what they do is they go body type A and B, because it's the easiest way for them to gain ESG points in a, usually in a way that is not going to go against their necessary beliefs. You know what I mean? To them, I guess they don't view it as a big deal to go from male to female to body type A and B if it gets them funding, right? Even if it's slight funding, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal to them. But ultimately, it is a big deal to the ones who are funding this nonsense in the first place, and to the ones who are using it to virtue signal. Not only that, apparently, aside from picking A and B, you now have the freedom to pick either body type without the restriction of gender labels. Furthermore, it added to give you even more room for self-expression, which, by the way, it's fucking RuneScape, right? Like, how much self-expression are you possibly getting in a game that looks like RuneScape? But that's neither here nor there. You can now choose a preferred pronoun for your player character from the following options: he, him, she, her, they, them. Now, again, these pronoun options, these are what you call the lazy activist pronoun options, right? These are the ones that are the easiest one to pick. They're the ones that are the least divisive. They're the ones that are actually in the language, and they're not neo pronouns, right? If you're going to do pronoun nonsense, You should include everybody, because then if you're going to talk about this being inclusively based, then you're essentially purposely excluding those that don't go by either of those pronouns. I want Zers, right? I want Zems. I want frog self, because that apparently exists. I want Faye self, okay, because you can have that on YouTube, Faye self. Even YouTube has that, right? Like, I want all the pronouns. If you're not putting every single fucking pronoun that has been made up by these activists, then you are being exclusionary, and that is not good. You're supposed to be an inclusive company. Now that you bent the knee and you're trying to virtue signal, now you got to go all in. You can't be lazy and just do she, her, he, him, they, them, because that's what the lazy people do, right? You're not trying to be that. You're trying to be stunning and brave. So go all the way. Otherwise, don't do it at all. You can also continue without selecting a pronoun if that's what you prefer. The game will use a default based on body type, similar to how it's always been. Well, how is that possible? Because you said that you're going to make a character without the restriction of gender labels. So you're going to say body type A and body type B. So why would you put he, him for body type A if body type A is not male? I mean, anybody have an answer to that question? Why would you do that? You shouldn't have that ability. You should just automatically label them they, them. That would be the smarter thing to do, right? If you're going to be consistent with your virtue signaling, then you would label everybody they, them who chooses not to select the pronoun. That way you're as generic and vague as possible. But you're telling me in this post that you're going to give he, him to those that pick body type A and she, her to those that pick body type B. Why? You literally just said in the first paragraph here that you're removing the restriction of gender labels. So that means that A and B is not male or female to you. So why would you give them male or female pronouns if you're not even sure what they are, according to the A and B, the whole ideology behind A and B? Why would you do that? Give them they, them, right? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my fucking life, man. It really is. These are people who genuinely do not give a fuck about what they're virtue signaling right now. Nobody in this development team truly gives a fuck about this. And if they do, they're just activists at the end of the day, and they're probably not going to be working there for very long. But here's the best part. The developer did not stop there. It also added that all facial hairstyles can now be used with both body types. So that's incredible. So now you're gonna automatically default she, her to body type B, even if they have a beard. It's fantastic. Former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Curran, aka Grums, reacted to this update and also shared a screenshot of what the makeover interface now looks like in game. He wrote, "They just ruined OG RuneScape. Mandatory and unasked for update forces body types and pronouns onto players." Again, it's fucking retarded. And even if you want to choose to opt out of selecting a pronoun, they're going to make you pick a pronoun by, automatically, which again, people are saying, well, it's optional. Nah, that's not optional, right? If you're forcing me to use pronouns as a title, even if I didn't select it, that's not optional. In a follow-up, Grums responded to the arguments that have been made in the past regarding the removal of gender from character creators. He wrote, "If RuneScape patching an ancient game to have pronouns in body type is such a big nothing, then why do it at all?" Exactly. They never want to quite answer that, right? Whenever you ask them, okay, so if you say it's not a big deal, then why are you doing it if it's not a big deal? Why not just leave the game the way it was? It's an old game. It's not like it's a brand new game that's coming out trying to get as much of the modern audience as possible. It's an old-ass fucking game that nobody from the modern audience is playing anyway, so why do it? Why do it? If it's not a big deal, why do it? And it's because it is a big deal, right? They know that. We all know that it is a big deal. It's massive. It's huge to them. Their ideology is everything to them. They need to make sure that everybody believes in their ideology. And if they don't, they're going to try to bully you into believing it. That's the kind of people that they are. So if you're going to try to sit there and gaslight people and say none of this matters, well, then why are you doing something that doesn't matter in the first place? Why even engage in it in the first place if it doesn't fucking matter? So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.